markets were about to absolutely.
Hey, shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Racha, Kodash. I want to give double honors to the apostles, to the elders, the great millstone. Peace, love, honors, and salutations to the hopeful elect that are out there doing the work in truth and in sincerity. Shalom to you all. And first of all, I want to say fair use. I don't own the rights to this video. I'm not making any monetary funds off this video. This is strictly for educational purposes only. And man, you know, watching this video, you can tell that the spirit of these Edomites are crushed. The spirit of Esau, Edom, is crushed. You know, this guy Trump was supposed to be, you know, their last hope. This guy was supposed to be their savior. This guy was supposed to make America great again. You know, this guy was to bring them back on top, take them out of debt. You know, stop all the wars. This was supposed to be the guy, but this guy Trump ended up fucking each and every American citizen, excuse my French. This guy turned his back on each and every one of them, and these Edomites are crushed, man. They are devastated. So let me play this video.
Crash. Donald Trump, in order to manipulate the markets, just came out with a massive lie and claimed that he is in the process of negotiating a deal that could potentially resolve the war with Iran. Donald Trump refuses to say who he's having these discussions with, how they are taking place, what the general framework is, if there are anyone mediating these conversations. Iran instantly has denied that these communications are taking place. They say there's no direct or indirect communications with Donald Trump, but based on Donald Trump's fabrications, the markets which were set to crash have actually stabilized, at least for the time being today, although as more information trickles in that Donald Trump is lying, and Donald Trump just gave a disastrous press conference on the tarmac as he leaves Florida to head back to Washington, D.C. I think it's becoming evident to everybody that yet again Donald Trump is lying. So remember, Donald Trump gave Iran a 48-hour ultimatum where he said, if you don't get out of the Strait of Hormuz immediately and allow us to control the Strait of Hormuz, the United States will blow up all of your energy infrastructure in Iran, starting with the biggest one first. Iran responded and said, we reject that ultimatum. If you go after our energy infrastructure, we will be attacking the energy infrastructure, desalination facilities, commerce centers, and any other areas where economic benefits are derived in the Arab nations that surround us. Take our threat very seriously. So Donald Trump had an option. His deadline for the ultimatum would be due in a few hours. Was he going to bomb the civilian energy infrastructure of Iran, which would be a war crime, or would he basically do what he always does, where he makes up a lie, says he's involved in negotiations when he really isn't, and then try to get himself out of the mess that he created? Well, early this morning, here's what he posts. I'll show you Trump's post, the Iranian response right away, because Iran, within 20 minutes, they were on their media channel saying this is a lie. There's no direct or indirect communications with Donald Trump. Look at the United States backing down.
This guy is looking bad, man. This guy is looking fucking bad, yo. Why? Hey, all praises to Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai, man. And you know, this is what happens to a bully. You know, a bully is only tough, you know, around weaker people. When a bully, they you know, it's like I had a friend in the world, and he was a boxer, and he told me one time that, you know, dudes was trying to pick on him because, you know, he looks, you know, a little scrawny. And he told me He beat the living hell out that dude, man. And this is what America is experiencing right now. All right? They are experiencing an ass whooping. The Iranians, they're not afraid of you. You know, this guy Trump, he's all talk, all bark and no bite. He's a fucking coward, man. Okay? He's a coward. Just like them so-called Jews, man. They're the biggest fucking cowards. Because you want America to send Marines to Iran. You want America to send Marines to Iran. So these Marines, I believe they say that they'll arrive in maybe 5 days. Why not send Israel? Because they're right there. Why are they not going over there to die? And you have a lot of military men and women that are saying we're not going over there to die for Israel. We're not going over there to die for these people. All right? This is crazy, man. Just listen to some more.
So let me show you what went down. Trump writes, I'm pleased to report that the United States of America and the country of Iran have had over the last 2 days very good and productive conversations regarding a complete and total resolution of our hostilities in the Middle East. Based on the tenor and tone of these in-depth, detailed, and constructive conversations, which will continue throughout the week, I have instructed the Department of War to postpone.
And his entire administration, they're a bunch of fucking retards, man. There are a bunch of wicked, especially that faggot Ted. I hate that motherfucker so much, man. Like the governor of Texas, I hate that dude with a passion, man. You know, that's a real sleazeball. But the people that's Trump's advisors, they are a bunch of retards, man. They are a bunch of stupid, spineless idiots, man. You know, and like me and the elder bro, I'm on Gabal, always say, man, America is going out by pure stupidity, man. Pure fucking stupidity. This is crazy. But well, when I say it's crazy, I don't mean it's crazy like this is unbelievable. Like, it's just amazing the way it's happening. You know, if anybody out there still believe a word this guy says, then you deserve the worst, man. You deserve the very worst. Okay? Let me continue.
Any and all military strikes against Iranian power plants and energy infrastructure for a 5-day period, subject to the success of the ongoing meetings and discussions. Thank you for your attention to this matter, President Donald J. Trump. And to be clear, when he talks about military strikes against power plants and energy infrastructure, that is a war crime right there. That is a 100% a war crime. So then,
and he's the one going over there calling the Iranians terrorists. Well, that was a terroristic act that you just did. You see the hypocrisy in these people? You see the hypocrisy in these people, man. That's a so-called Jew tactic, man. We're not going to fight the big, tough military. We're just going to kill the innocent civilians. Which, you know, scripture say no man died being, who then died being innocent. But you know what brothers know what I mean. You know, let's attack civilians. You know, and it goes back to them goddamn pilgrims. You know, which I truthfully believe those are Amalekites, man. I truthfully believe those are, because they were fucking filth, just like the so-called Jew today. They're filthy, man. And they're cowards. And they're extremely cruel, man. When the men will go hunting, they will sneak into the villages and kill the women and children. Cowards, man. But as you know, Iran states, man, listen, you're gonna learn. You're gonna learn this time, man. And America is looking weak. And as soon as you put them troops on the ground, Russia is gonna move in on Ukraine. China's gonna move in on Taiwan. You know, North Korea is gonna move in on South Korea. All right. And I believe Japan. I forgot. I know they're beefing with another nation. I forget which one. But they're just waiting for America to be, you know, get more occupied in this war. And then, hey man, it's gonna escalate. And ultimately, even the EU is gonna turn. NATO and the EU, they're gonna turn on you. I don't think the EU is around no more. I think they dismantled it. NATO is gonna turn on America. All right, you can read about that in the Obadiah.
Donald Trump reaches out to CNBC and to Fox Business, and he calls them and he says to them, Iran badly wants to make a deal. It could happen in 5 days. Why 5 days? Because he doesn't want the markets to crash this week. What happens in 5 days? The markets close. That's when escalation likely would begin again over the weekend. And then he comes back on Monday to manipulate the markets again. So as Faye Tukes News explains over here,
people are gonna catch on to that shit, man. This guy, he's not gonna escape that Oval Office, you know, unscathed, man. You know? A lot of MAGA are turning their backs on him, and rightfully so. This guy is looking bad, man. This guy, he's looking like a real dumbass, man. You know, and everybody that supported him, even people I know that supported him, you know, except one dummy, you know, they're basically changing their tune. Like, F this guy, man.
Note of who Trump is talking to following his Truth Social post, CNBC and Fox. Then I'll show you this in a moment. Donald Trump says that part of these discussions, he will be jointly controlling the Strait of Hormuz with the new Ayatollah. It will be Trump and the Ayatollah now working together, controlling the Strait of Hormuz, which obviously is a bunch of nonsense. So Iran responds right away. They go on their various state media and they deny that there have been not just productive conversations, they deny there's any direct or indirect communications whatsoever. Iran says, 1, there has been no indirect or direct contact with Trump or his people. 2, Trump is trying to buy time in the Iran war. 3, Trump withdrew from the power plant strike threats after Iran's firm warning that it would strike its neighbors. 4, Trump's comments are part of a psychological warfare campaign against Iran. 5, Hormuz will not return and will never return to pre-war conditions as long as psychological warfare continues. As the Kobayashi letter explains, Iran has entirely denied all of Donald Trump's claims. And as our editor-in-chief, Ron Filipkowski, writes, never in my life have I believed Iran state media over our own government until now. That's not being unpatriotic.
Wow.
That's having a brain that functions. And he's quoting Iranian state media saying, there's been no direct or indirect communications with Trump, not even through intermediaries. Trump retreated after hearing that our targets would be all over the power plants, and we'd be targeting the power plants all over West Asia. Now, the editor-at-large of the Wall Street Journal, Gerard Baker, put out the following message. The unsettling reality is that with this president, this is the editor-at-large at the Wall Street Journal, the unsettling reality is that with this president, Americans in wartime are in the unprecedented position of having to suspect that the enemy's version of events is more likely to be true than our own. We have become Baghdad Bob. And specifically, we were seeing oil markets were imploding. I mean, it was going to go to $120, $150 per barrel. We saw the rise of the Treasury note yields, the 10-year and the 20-year reaching unsustainable levels. And then when Trump made the fabricated announcement, we saw some stabilization taking place as well. Massive market swings taking place this morning. So then Donald Trump was on the tarmac.
I ain't gonna play the whole thing. It's, it goes into a lot, but let me get this precept real quick. Now I'm gonna end it there. This is Isaiah chapter 19, verse 3. It says, "And the spirit of the Egyptians shall fail in the midst." You see that? Hey, the spirit of these people. You heard what the guy just said, man. Never in his life would he ever think that he would take the word, of the Iranians over, his own people, his own president. So it says the spirit of the Egyptians shall fail, and that's what I mentioned. I mentioned first that their spirits are failing them, man. All right, they're losing hope. So this is prophecy, man. And it says Egypt, which America is also known as Egypt in the Bible. All right, what does the word Egypt mean? It means bondage. It's Greek, Egyptos, meaning bondage. So we came over here in bondage. That's why the Lord said, you shall go into Egypt again with ships. There's no record of the Israelites ever going back to actual Egypt in ships. Israel, you could walk from Israel to Egypt. Okay? Israel is north of Egypt. Okay? So we came over here in into bondage in cargo slave ships. So, and the spirit of of Egypt shall fail in the midst thereof, and I will destroy the counsel thereof, and they shall seek to the idols and to the charmers and to them that have familiar spirits and to the wizards. Right? And this is what Esau Edom is doing. They're praying to their idols, to their demons. Which them demons got y'all in a trick bag. And it says, "And the Egyptians will I give over to a cruel lord, and a fierce king shall rule over them, saith the Lord." Okay? So this is where we're at, man. This is Bible prophecy, and that cruel lord is Donald J. Trump, aka Emperor Nero. So Lord willing, this was edifying. I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rachah, Kodash. I want to give double honors to the apostles, to the elders of Great Millstone. Peace, love, honors, and salutations to the hopeful elect. Shalom. Y'all could check that video out too, man. It's a very, very, he's giving a lot of information, man. Shalom.